Hey everyone, this is Ashley with CT Mina Digitals. I'm going to show you how to use the Pastel star overlays in Photoshop. I already have my picture open that I want to use. I have my overlay open that I want to use. I'm going to go ahead and press select, all, edit, copy, edit, and paste over my image. Now the overlay is bigger than my photo. So I'm just going to resize it. Sometimes, depending on the size of your photo, the overlay will work perfect with certain images. Other times, sometimes you'll have to use a couple different overlays. There's a lot of different ways you can make it work. So I want the part of my, in order to make it look more realistic, I want the part of my overlay that's most in focus to be on the part of my backdrop that's most in focus, which is right along here. So I'm going to drag this over here. Okay, I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to go ahead and create a layer mask on there so I can brush off parts that I do not want. Just using a black brush, 100% opacity. Okay, and now obviously I don't have anything up here, so I'm actually going to use the same exact overlay, which down here, this has a little bit of, I'm going to take that one away too. So I'm going to, it's already copied over here, so I'm going to just go up to edit and paste again. And I'm going to resize. Right about there. Okay, I'm going to create another layer mask on that layer, brush off the ones I do not want. Make this bigger. I don't want any of those ones down here from this layer. Okay, and now there's a couple little spots that are missing a little, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click back on the overlay layer. I'm going to go up to my healing tool, and I'm just going to steal a couple of stars from different places, and I can go back and do this too. Oh. Sorry, forgot. What am I doing here? There we go. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and merge these two layers. Highlight them both, right click, go up to merge layers. And obviously the stars do not look very realistic right now. Completely depends on your photo, what you do to make it look more realistic. You can change the blending mode, you can change the opacity. I'm going to show you a couple different things we can do. So first I want to add a gradient to the stars so that these stars back here are darker than these stars up here. I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to go over to my gradient tool, and I'm going to make sure that this gradient is selected, solid to transparent and black to white. I'm going to drag up here and towards the light. I'm going to change the blending mode to soft light. And I'm going to press Alt on my keyboard, click between these layers, and that will make it so it only applies to the stars and not the backdrop itself. That's one way. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that because I might not even need to do that. I'm going to play with my blending modes. So darken completely gets rid of it. Multiply looks good. I think that makes it look actually pretty realistic. Color burn, you can just play with them. Like if you were on a white backdrop, maybe changing it to a different brighter mode would work. Sometimes pin light works good for these. It really just depends. You just need to play with it. But I'm going to use multiply. And I think that actually looks really good. So, and if you wanted to lower the opacity a little bit, you could. I'm going to keep it at max. And now I like how that looks. So I'm going to go ahead and flatten my image. And now there's a couple of stars that I think need to be a little bit more blurred. And I also want to copy some of my stars onto certain parts of my backdrop. So I'm going to go to my healing tool again. I'm going to take a couple. Now the stars look like dots kind of, but that's only because it's blurred, and that's actually how it would look in camera if you were to do this. So take this up here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and duplicate my layer. I'm going to go up to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and because I want to blur these down here a little bit. I could just go over them with my blur tool, but I like to do this better. I think it looks more realistic. Press OK. I'm just trying to get these ones down here. Create a layer mask and invert it, and then take my white brush at 100% opacity and brush over them. These ones down here too. This one over here. Now that looks a lot more realistic to me. Flatten. Before. After. And like I said, multiple different ways to achieve realistic. You just need to play around with the overlays and get it to your liking.